Hello, I'm Caitlin Coombs with energeticcity.ca, and welcome to Council Corner, powered by the City of Fort St. John. Today we are talking to Councillor Sarah MacDougall to get the latest updates happening in the city. Councillor, how are you doing today?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So in this episode, we're talking about the new aquatics facility planned for Fort St. John.
Great.
Let's start with just some background in case people aren't up to date on everything. Let's talk about the current aquatic facility. How long have we had the facility? What is its current state, and who owns and operates it?
Okay, so our current aquatics facility is almost 30 years old. So it's getting a little bit older and it's really starting to show its age. Although we have tried to keep it maintained as best as we can, some of the amenities just aren't there anymore. We all know the hot tub. We'd love to have one. Sadly, we do not. It is owned, though, by the Peace River Regional District, but operated by the City of Fort St. John.
Okay. And we've kind of heard about a new facility for a while now. How long has that been on the table? Who was involved with that discussion before the past couple of months?
So this has been something that we've been talking about for years. I believe it was 2017 that those first steering groups struck to discuss a new aquatic facility. Mm-hmm. Now that was a regional initiative, so that was City of Fort St. John, the District of Taylor, and from the Peace River Regional District, both areas B and C.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how has it come now? Of course, the new facility, there's a new committee, it's just the Fort St. John. How has that come to be? Why is Fort St. John responsible for the new facility rather than the regional district? What happened there?
Right, so we had a long time of the regional district working group, so I've called the regional working group, discussing, meeting, and having a lot of conversations, a lot of great movement there, but we were 8 years in and we were not seeing quite as much movement as we wanted to see. And so the City of Fort St. John decided we would take a leadership role to really get this across the finish line. We had a lot of great work with our regional partners, and we're not just putting that to the side. We'll still be using that public input that was done to get this project to fruition. But when it comes down to it, it's often very efficient to have one person take the lead in a big project like this.
Okay, that's a good point. And what's the current status of a new facility? Who's involved with the discussion? Are we kind of going back to step one? What's happening there?
So the great thing on this is that we are able to springboard off of all the great work done by that regional committee. So no, we are certainly not at step one. Mm-hmm. So the city has struck a working group amongst staff, consultants, and there's also 2 council members who sit on that. So that would be myself as well as Councillor Boland. Mm-hmm. So we meet once a week to discuss and further action this facility replacement committee work.
Okay, perfect. And since the regional district handed the project over to the city, other than the working group, what's been done so far and what is involved? What can people see in the near future into 2026?
Okay, so like I said, we've been meeting weekly, so lots of stuff going on. We have some staff who are out there looking at grants and at sponsorships so that we can have some help with that capital funding to build this facility. We have also been able to secure a location for it. So this was a big deal. It's going to go in the new Parkwood development. We've signed a letter of intent to work with them on that location.
What is the facility expected to feature? Does the city, what does the location the city currently have planned mean for the residents?
So obviously it's going to be a new aquatic facility. All of the exact features we're not completely locked on yet. So of course we're working off of all the public engagement that's already happened, but we are continuing that public engagement so that as we finalize the facility layout and the amenities, we're having public input on what they want to see in their community. This is a big community project for it. It's not just about a new pool. It is about a place to get kids active, families engaged, a meeting point in our community, something that will draw new families and businesses, professionals to our community. This is really a very long-term city building project that we're undertaking. And that site is fantastic in that it is 10 acres of blank land that was donated to our city on the west side of town, right across the street from Nache Commons and Malmurray. Mm-hmm. So it's really going to be an area that is an up-and-coming area in our community.
Wonderful. And of course, anytime someone hears about a new facility, it's one of the first thoughts on residents' minds. who's going to pay for the construction, upkeep, and general maintenance of this new facility?
That's a very good question because we do want to know where our money's going. So there's two questions here really. So one is capital costs. Where is that coming from? So that's the building. And that is going to come from things like our Peace River Agreement funds that we get from the province every year, grants, sponsorships, and then of course there could be some borrowing that comes along with that. And then the operation side will come from user fees as well as property taxes.
Okay. And what will happen to the old facility once the new one is completed? Do you have any plans for that building? Does the region have any plans for that building? What's going to happen there?
That's a very great question, but because the facility is owned by the Peace River Regional District, we don't know exactly what their plans are for that.
Sounds good. And you mentioned a little bit about community feedback. Will there be any community outreach accepted on what the new pool will feature from residents in the city?
Yes, we absolutely want to know what our residents want in a new facility. So not only are we going to be talking to residents, we'll also be talking to the user groups. Who's going to be using this facility and what do they want to see in a new facility? So on our website, on our social media channels, even through the media, we'll be putting information out about both what's happening and those opportunities for engagement. I would encourage folks to get onto that Let's Talk community website, or the Fort St. John community website, to both get information and to solicit their own, or give their own feedback.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much for your time, Councillor.
Thank you so much.
This has been Council Corner, powered by the City of Fort St. John. I'm Caitlin Coombs with energeticity.ca. We'll see you next time.